You hear about yoga everywhere. It's this ancient practice that millions of people swear by for, well, everything, from getting super flexible to just finding some peace of mind. But what happens when we take that tradition, which is thousands of years old, and put it under the microscope of modern science? All right, let's really dig in and see if we can separate the hype from the hard evidence.
To really get what yoga is all about, we have to go way back to its roots. We're talking about 2,000 years ago. The sage Patanjali defined it, and get this, not as a workout, but as a mental discipline. The goal wasn't about nailing a perfect handstand, nope. It was to yoke, or basically to unite and control the mind, to turn your focus inward, away from all the noise, and achieve this state of pure consciousness. The spiritual foundation is so key to understanding how we got to where we are today.
But fast forward to today, and the way we talk about yoga is, well, it's totally different. Now, it's all about these incredible physical and mental perks, right? It's supposed to make you stronger, more flexible, even happier. But the big question we've got to ask is, how many of these modern claims actually hold up under scientific scrutiny? That's exactly what we're going to explore.
But before we get to what the science does say, we have to talk about the puzzle. Because it turns out studying yoga in a lab is incredibly tricky, and understanding why it's so difficult is actually crucial for us to make sense of the results.
So what's the deal? Why is it so hard to get a straight answer from science? It's definitely not for a lack of trying. Researchers have run tons of studies, but they just keep running into the same roadblocks over and over again.
Okay, so for starters, yoga isn't just one thing. It's this whole package deal, right? You've got the physical poses, the breathing exercises, and the meditation. So if someone walks out of a class feeling amazing, what actually did the trick? Was it the stretching, the breathing, the quiet time? It's really, really hard to pull those things apart. On top of that, a lot of the studies are pretty small, and they often don't include a very diverse group of people. And maybe the biggest hurdle? So much of the evidence comes from people just saying they feel better. And, well, that can be super subjective.
Okay, so keeping all those challenges in mind, let's switch gears and look at where the science is the most clear. And that really starts with the tangible, measurable effects that yoga has on our physical bodies.
So let's talk about flexibility. How does yoga actually make you more flexible? Well, it's kind of a two-step process. In the short term, every time you stretch, you're basically increasing the water content in your tissues. That makes them a little more elastic, but just for a while. But here's where it gets really cool. If you stick with it, your body does something amazing. It actually tells your stem cells to get to work building new, more flexible muscle tissue, and more of that elastic stuff called collagen. So we're talking about a real physical change happening inside your body.
And that's not all. A big part of getting more flexible is basically teaching your nervous system to just chill out. Regular stretching actually dials down your body's natural reflex to tighten up when it's pushed. This means your pain tolerance improves, and that lets you go even deeper into those poses.
This power to heal and strengthen becomes super clear when you look at some specific conditions. For really tough-to-treat issues like chronic lower back pain or rheumatoid arthritis, studies show yoga can actually be more effective at reducing pain and improving mobility than other low-impact exercises. That makes it a seriously potent addition to any treatment plan.
And these benefits go even deeper, right to our most vital organs. All that controlled breathing you do in yoga, it actually helps relax your airways, which makes it easier for oxygen to get into your blood. That's fantastic for your lung health, and it's great for your heart too. For healthy folks, it can lower blood pressure and even cut down on the risk factors for cardiovascular disease.
All right, so the physical evidence is pretty solid, no doubt about it. But what about the brain? This is where we get into the much more complex and frankly more debated world of yoga's psychological effects.
And here is where things get, well, a little bit murky. We hear it all the time. Yoga is amazing for your mental health. And while there's a really strong feeling that this is true, it's also the one area where the hard scientific proof is the most difficult to pin down.
This chart really tells the whole story. When you're talking about huge claims like being able to treat clinical depression or anxiety disorders, the scientific evidence is honestly pretty weak. Those conditions are just so complex and so varied that it's hard to draw a direct causal line to yoga. But for stress reduction, now we're talking. The scientific support there is much, much stronger.
And that's the key takeaway right there. When it comes to managing the everyday stress that we all deal with, the science shows yoga is a fantastic tool. The evidence we have suggests it can be just as effective as other well-known techniques like meditation or just simple relaxation. And that is a powerful, proven benefit you can take to the bank.
So, after all that,
where do we stand? Well, the science is definitely still evolving, but researchers have a pretty clear roadmap for what needs to happen next if we're going to get some more definitive answers.
To really understand the full potential of yoga, science has to level up. What does that mean? It means we need way bigger studies with much more diverse groups of people. And this is crucial, we need to move beyond just asking people how they feel. We need to start measuring yoga's impact on major health outcomes. We're talking things like heart attack rates, cancer rates, and long-term brain function.
So, while science is still playing catch-up, yoga just keeps on doing what it's done for centuries, being this incredibly powerful way for people to move, to reflect, and to just relax. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? For a practice that weaves together the body, the breath, and the mind in such a profound way, is its true value something we can ever really measure in a lab?